Integrity is the backbone of Stoic philosophy, guiding us to act with unwavering virtue, even when no one is watching. In a world where shortcuts are tempting and recognition often outweighs values, the Stoics remind us that true strength lies in holding to our principles. These 10 tips explore how to build a life of integrity, one rooted in purpose, resilience, and the quiet power of living according to what's right. The silent power of integrity. Who are you when no one is watching? What defines a person when no one is there to witness their actions? The Stoics believed that true character reveals itself in the quiet moments, those times when there's no applause, no judgment, just you and the choices you make. In a world full of noise and attention, these silent moments are rare, but they're powerful tests of one's integrity. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Think about it. Every reaction, every decision in solitude is a mark on your character. Integrity isn't about putting on a show. It's about staying true to your values when there's no one there to approve or disapprove. Imagine a life where your private self is exactly the same as your public face, where your thoughts, actions, and intentions are in alignment whether or not anyone is there to observe you. This is the kind of strength Stoicism aims to cultivate, an inner foundation that doesn't shift with the changing tides of opinion. In the modern world, we're often tempted to shape our actions based on how others see us. Social media, for instance, pressures us to appear happy, successful, or virtuous. But Stoicism teaches us to reject this external validation. Instead, it asks us to anchor ourselves in an unwavering set of values that guide us regardless of who's watching. Acting with integrity means creating an internal code, a silent agreement with yourself that says, "I will remain true to my principles even when no one is looking." And that commitment builds trust within yourself. Every choice made in the dark shapes the person you're becoming. Integrity is not about perfection, but about honesty, about being real with yourself when it would be easy to take shortcuts or fall into pretense. Ask yourself, how often do you make the same decisions alone as you would in the spotlight? Living in accordance with virtue, anchoring integrity as your compass. When no one's there to watch you or praise you, what guides your actions? For the Stoics, virtue was the highest good, and acting with integrity meant letting virtue be your guiding light, especially when times are tough. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Simple words, but carrying profound wisdom. Integrity to the Stoics wasn't just a concept. It was an everyday practice, a living compass that helped them navigate the complexities of life. Imagine you're standing at a crossroads, faced with a choice. One path is easy, but compromises your values. The other is challenging, but upholds your principles. Integrity asks you to take the harder road, not for recognition or praise, but for the sake of preserving your own character. This is the Stoics' way, to prioritize virtue over comfort, and honesty over gain. When you let virtue lead, you're making a commitment to yourself, deciding that no matter what others think or say, your values remain your guide. Stoicism reminds us that the world is full of temptations, shortcuts, and the allure of an easier way. In such a world, it takes strength to stick to what is right, to follow a path defined by virtue rather than convenience. Integrity isn't built in a day. It's the product of small, consistent choices, of choosing honesty even when it would be easier to deceive, of choosing courage even when fear beckons. And with each choice, you're reinforcing a foundation that makes you stronger and more resilient. Today, ask yourself, what do you use to anchor your actions? Is it the approval of others, the reward of recognition, or a genuine desire to live by a higher code? When you start aligning your actions with this inner compass, you'll find a profound sense of peace that comes from knowing you're living a life true to your own values. Living with integrity isn't always easy, but it's the only path that leads to self-respect and an unshakable inner strength. Remember, in the end, the only approval you truly need is your own. The courage to stand alone. Integrity as a shield against popular opinion. Imagine being in a room full of people who all believe in one thing, while you hold a different view. The pressure to conform can feel immense, but the Stoics remind us that acting with integrity sometimes means standing alone. Seneca once wrote, "I shall never be ashamed of citing a bad author if the line is good." Stoicism teaches us that integrity means choosing what's right over what's popular, even if it means going against the crowd. Integrity becomes a shield, protecting you from the influence of others' opinions and the fear of judgment. In a world that often values fitting in over standing out, acting with integrity can feel like an act of rebellion. Think of historical figures who chose integrity over acceptance, like Socrates, who drank hemlock rather than betray his values. The Stoics argue that to act with integrity is to be anchored in a truth that no external force can sway. When we let virtue guide us, the opinions of others lose their power because we're no longer relying on them for validation. Integrity requires courage. The courage to say no when everyone else says yes. The strength to hold firm to your beliefs even when it would be easier to give in. Integrity is a quiet force that keeps you grounded and prevents you from being swept away by the currents of public opinion. Ask yourself, can you find peace in your convictions, even if you stand alone? When you act with this level of integrity, you're not just protecting yourself from external influence, you're also fortifying your sense of self. In the end, living by your principles brings a peace and strength that popularity and praise never could. The priceless value of self-trust. How integrity builds inner strength. What if you could always trust yourself to do what's right? Imagine a life where every decision you make reinforces your own self-respect and belief in your character. For the Stoics, this was the ultimate aim of integrity, to act in ways that build an unshakable trust in oneself. Epictetus teaches us, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Mastery over oneself means knowing that you can rely on your own judgment, no matter the situation, because you have trained yourself to act with unwavering integrity. Consider the little moments throughout your day, the small choices you make when no one is watching, the thoughts you entertain, the actions you take. Each decision is an opportunity to build self-trust. When you choose integrity, you're creating a version of yourself that you can rely on, someone you respect and admire. This self-trust becomes an inner strength that no external circumstance can undermine. When we betray our values, we create cracks in our character. When we uphold them, we lay down a foundation as solid as stone. The Stoics believed that trusting oneself was the key to living a peaceful and resilient life. It's not about being perfect, but about striving to do what's right in each moment. Integrity builds a reservoir of inner strength, one that allows you to face challenges with confidence, knowing that you have the courage and consistency to stand by your principles. With each decision made in alignment with your values, you're reinforcing your own inner foundation. In a world that often tries to pull us in every direction, the priceless gift of self-trust will always keep you steady. The discipline of consistency, building integrity through small acts every day. Integrity isn't built overnight. It's crafted from the small, consistent choices we make daily. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." Integrity, to the Stoics, was a disciplined practice. It isn't the occasional grand gesture, but the accumulation of countless small acts that ultimately define a person's character. Just as a stone is shaped by the constant flow of water, our character is shaped by the routine decisions we make in moments that might seem trivial. Think about the little promises you make to yourself: to finish a project, to treat others kindly, or to resist a small temptation. When we follow through on these promises, we strengthen our commitment to our values, even in the smallest details of our lives. The Stoics believed that discipline in the small things trains us for the larger challenges. Each act of integrity is like a single brick, and with each brick, we build a structure of character that can withstand any storm. Imagine living in a way where you can trust yourself to make the right choices, no matter how big or small. Acting with integrity isn't about perfection. It's about the discipline of returning to our values time and time again. Consistency is the foundation of character, and character is the foundation of a life well lived. So ask yourself, what small acts of integrity can you practice today? When you make integrity a habit, it transforms you, creating a life of peace and self-respect. In every choice, no matter how small, you are sculpting the person you're meant to be. The quiet strength of humility. Why integrity thrives in modesty. How do you hold to your values without flaunting them? The Stoics taught that integrity and humility go hand in hand. True virtue doesn't need an audience or approval. Epictetus advises, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Real integrity is humble. It acts out of principle rather than pride. A person who has to constantly proclaim their honesty or virtue often lacks the very thing they claim to possess. The Stoics understood that integrity, when grounded in humility, becomes an unbreakable inner force. Imagine a life where you act with virtue, not for recognition, but because it's who you are. This doesn't mean shrinking from what you believe in. Rather, it means letting your actions speak louder than words. Humility protects integrity by keeping you grounded, by reminding you that true strength is silent, not boastful. When you're motivated by humility, you free yourself from the need for praise and validation. You act rightly because it aligns with your values, not because it earns you points with others. Consider the strength it takes to uphold your principles quietly, without seeking admiration. In a world that often rewards boasting and self-promotion, this can feel like a radical stance. But the Stoics saw humility as essential to living a life of integrity. Humility allows you to be honest with yourself and with others, without the burden of pride. It keeps you rooted, ensuring that your actions are genuine and not driven by ego. When you act with humility, your integrity is pure, unswayed by external rewards. As you go about your day, think of ways to let your actions, not words, express who you are. In humility, your integrity finds its true strength. Standing firm in temptation, choosing integrity when it's hardest. What happens when you're faced with a choice that tests everything you believe? The Stoics believed that moments of temptation are the ultimate tests of our integrity. Seneca once wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." When desires or shortcuts present themselves, it can be challenging to hold true to our values. But these are the very moments that determine our character. Integrity doesn't shine when it's easy. It's revealed when things get hard. Imagine being offered something that goes against your principles, but that no one else would know about. Maybe it's a financial shortcut, or maybe it's simply turning a blind eye to something unethical. In such moments, the Stoic response is to remember your principles, to value your integrity above short-term gain. Stoicism teaches us that resisting temptation isn't about deprivation. It's about choosing something far greater, the peace of knowing you remained true to yourself. The Stoics would remind us that material rewards or temporary pleasures can't compare to the lasting peace that comes from living with integrity. When you say no to what is wrong, even if it's difficult, you're saying yes to a life of freedom from guilt, shame, and regret. Integrity isn't just a value, it's a liberation. By holding to your values in moments of temptation, you build a life free from the burdens of remorse and fear. As you navigate your choices, remember that the strength to resist temptation is the foundation of true self-respect. The unseen impact of integrity, inspiring others through quiet action. What if your greatest impact on others came not from words, but from silent acts of integrity? The Stoics believed that the most powerful influence comes from simply living your values. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This reminder highlights the Stoic belief that our actions, not our arguments, are what inspire change in others. When you live with integrity, people notice, and your example becomes a silent call to others to rise to their own best selves. Consider how others in your life have inspired you, not by what they said, but by what they did. Perhaps it was a teacher who treated everyone fairly, or a friend who stood up for what was right, regardless of the cost. Their actions spoke volumes, and their integrity created a ripple effect, influencing you to be better. Living with integrity is like planting seeds. You may not see the results immediately, but over time, your example grows and impacts those around you in ways you might never know. The Stoics remind us that we are all interconnected, and our actions resonate far beyond ourselves. Acting with integrity, even in small ways, can have a profound impact on those who observe us, and it's often in the quiet, unnoticed moments that we leave the deepest impression. You may never know who you're inspiring simply by holding to your values, but rest assured that your integrity makes a difference. By being true to yourself, you're lighting a path for others, showing them that living with integrity is not only possible, but powerful. Integrity in the face of adversity, staying true when times are tough. What does integrity look like when life gets hard? For the Stoics, true character is forged in adversity. Epictetus, who was born a slave and endured great hardships, taught, "Difficulties are things that show what men are." When life challenges you, when the odds seem stacked against you, your integrity is put to the ultimate test. The Stoics believed that it's precisely in these moments that we have the greatest opportunity to show our strength, to choose virtue over bitterness, and to stay true to our principles no matter what. Imagine facing a setback. Maybe it's a personal failure, a loss, or an unforeseen hardship. In such moments, it's easy to compromise our values in the name of survival or relief. But the Stoics would remind us that this is when integrity matters most. To act with virtue during times of difficulty isn't just about staying strong, it's about building resilience and self-respect. The challenges we face are not just obstacles, they are opportunities to deepen our commitment to what we believe in. When you choose integrity in the face of adversity, you're reinforcing the foundation of who you are. You're saying, "No matter what I face, I will not betray my values." This unwavering strength not only helps you overcome immediate challenges, but also prepares you for whatever lies ahead. Life may test you in countless ways, but as the Stoics teach, each trial is a chance to prove your character. Integrity isn't about avoiding difficulty, it's about remaining true, no matter what life throws your way. In the end, these moments of hardship reveal the depths of your own resilience and strength. The legacy of integrity, creating a life that speaks beyond words. What will you leave behind when you're gone? The Stoics believed that a life lived with integrity leaves a legacy that speaks louder than any monument or memorial. Marcus Aurelius said, "What we do now echoes in eternity." To live with integrity is to create a legacy that doesn't require explanation, because your actions speak for themselves. It's about crafting a life so aligned with your values that others remember you not for what you said, but for the integrity that you embodied. Imagine how you would want to be remembered, not for any material achievements, but for the way you stood by your values, even when it was difficult. When we act with integrity, we leave behind a legacy that doesn't fade with time. It's a legacy of character, one that becomes a quiet example for others to follow. The Stoics believed that the greatest mark we can leave on the world is a life lived with purpose and virtue. A legacy built on integrity is a gift not just to ourselves, but to those who come after us. It's a reminder that true success isn't about wealth or status. It's about the strength of our character and the impact we have on others. Living with integrity creates a ripple effect, influencing and inspiring future generations long after we're gone. Ask yourself, how do you want your life to resonate in the hearts of others? When we choose integrity, we're creating a legacy that endures, a life that quietly speaks to the timeless power of living with virtue. Living with integrity, as the Stoics teach, is a daily commitment to values over convenience, resilience over ease. These principles guide us to make choices that reflect our best selves, crafting a life of meaning and peace. By embracing integrity, we leave a legacy that endures beyond fleeting praise. Let these Stoic insights inspire you to act with virtue, knowing that every choice shapes who you are and echoes far beyond today.